And we're probably going to see some of those new projects during the PlayStation Showcase that was, like we already said, just announced before recording here. The show will run a bit over an hour, focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from top studios from around the world. Expect a glimpse at several new creations from PlayStation Studios, so Sony's own first party, as well as spellbinding games from our third-party partners. I think that's a weird like way of saying that. Why
Yeah.
spellbinding? Is like Hogwarts Legacy DLC tease, or am I like looking way too much into it? And
Maybe.
indie creators.
Yeah. This is why I love you, Joe
Forspoken
Raptor.
too. Forspoken
Yeah,
too.
you're able to just be like, yeah, and maybe it's some Hogwarts stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, that would be awesome. And then, wow, you hooked me. You hooked me.
I totally think like if they're gonna do DLC, this would be the perfect time to, of course, show it. But yeah, there are going to be way more things. We already, I think, in last week's episode, talked a lot about this, right? But then it was not officially announced yet. So what should we do? Should we like run over like a few things that we expect to see there, and then maybe some because since last week, like the Mortal Kombat stuff has been kind of yeah, getting more serious with their Twitter account right now at the time of this recording being completely blank. That seems like they're trying to reveal it. Yeah, maybe by the time you listen to this, it has already been revealed with a CGI trailer, and then maybe like the first gameplay at the PlayStation Showcase or something. I could see that happen.
Yeah.
I think like Avatar from Ubisoft. We're gonna talk more about Ubisoft in a second, but that seems to have the PlayStation deal. So I really would not be surprised if it will be the big coming out party, because that's what Ubisoft usually does. It has like the Ubisoft Forward event where they will talk about games that are mostly already announced and have then one big surprise at the end. And yes, they want to like space it out. Otherwise, it's like it will kind of compete with itself. So having Avatar, I think before that, I think makes sense. I would not be surprised if we saw that game. And I'm like kind of cautious about that game. First person Avatar Frontiers of Pandora title. Of course, first party. I said Naughty Dog already, the Last of Us multiplayer game. I think we touched on that last week. I'm really curious about the Horizon online game. Like that's, of course, I think going to be a very interesting trend in the show. We will, of course, get, fingers crossed for Ghost of Tsushima 2. Like we will still get those big single player titles, but there will be a lot of live service games as well. And I'm curious to see those games, but I'm also curious to see the reaction from people. If we get like a few, yeah.
I think they're smart enough to probably space out the live service kind of sprinkled in the show, but it's all about how you leave them, right? So I think they're going to finish on like maybe a deep dive into the Last of Us factions, because like we said, like earlier this year in March, I'm putting this up on screen for everybody to see. Earlier in March of this year, there was an article posted and a bunch of people talked about this, but Neil Druckmann did an interview with Kind of Funny Games, and in it he said, quote, "The Last of Us multiplayer is our next big title. You'll hear much more about it later this year, and I'm stoked for it." So he described it as having much more to be shown, and we're going to see presumably a lot. And I would expect it to be, especially in light of the show's success, a huge focus, if not the focus of the ending of the show. And so if they sprinkle in like Horizon multiplayer game, some of this other stuff that maybe would be fodder for some people to rage about, if they can also pair that with something big from a studio that people really know and love, I think people will kind of quickly forget about all that other stuff.
Yeah. I think like if they just end with like 3 bangers and before that it was only like live service this, live service that, I think people will be fine with that. But I would not be surprised that like start with Spider-Man 2. That's of course like the thing that everyone knows is coming, and it's probably already coming in September. So I think I said this last week as well, but I think they're gonna do like a gameplay demo similar to what they did for 2018 and Miles Morales. Show the cutscene, show how good it looks, show Peter, Miles talking, MJ in there maybe. Some combat that we see. Oh, maybe they got some cool co-op moves that they can do. Of course, like it will be a single player game, but maybe we can like have the takedowns that they can like do cool stuff. Maybe we switch. Can we switch between the two? Or I'm just curious how that part is going to work, or if they will be separate and then the AI is controlling one of the two characters. I think that's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, we also have like still some question marks. Like, for example, Bluepoint. I actually already saw some comments in the chat as well, and yeah, Bloodborne. Like I said, I think that's gonna be, if they have something Bloodborne, it's gonna like set the world on fire. So, yeah, bringing it to PC and PS5 would already be huge. But of course, teasing a sequel in collaboration with FromSoft. Although, yeah, I think it's gonna be like, yeah, we looked at it and we said, okay, wow, another team is making it.
Yeah, I think it's also really important to note that, like, amazingly enough, and I'm baffled by this, the expectations surrounding a Bloodborne anything are actually quite low, which is baffling to me, because you'd think it'd just be totally out of control. But people are saying all over the internet, they're like, honestly, if they just come out with a 60 FPS patch, I'll be just as excited. And like, if that's the standard, if they come out with like 60 FPS and it runs at 4K, 60 FPS, and you know, we've done some reworking of the lighting engine so it looks even better. If they just do anything like that, it will cause the internet to melt. Like, people will lose their minds. And
yeah, for sure. I think what Chrissy is saying, like in the chat, that like, because we've been teased for too long, like people are just scared to expect more, because why this game came out in 2015 or 2015?
Yeah.
Why is it taking them so long? It's
well, it
like
makes me wonder if there's a licensing issue.
Table.
Like, because there's been discussions about it. People have started to wonder, maybe it is just a matter of From Software owning the rights after the Dark Souls 2 kind of fiasco. Maybe they just said it, so any future releases we have to directly sign off on, or we have to run and make in this franchise.
It is a Sony trademark, yeah, but there can of course be some like things behind the scenes,
specific licensing deals or something. We
don't know.
Yeah. We're about to find out.
Or they're like waiting for the perfect team, and I still think like Bluepoint, having just made Dark Souls, like
they would
doing Bloodborne 2,
nail it. Oh my god. Yeah, they would do so well.
Yeah. Like that's still my prediction, but I'm like cautious, because as people are saying, we've been it's kind of like it's not on the same level, but it's getting there. Like GTA 6, like everyone is always saying GTA 6, GTA.
It trends all the time. Like on Twitter, all the time, I'll get like, "Oh, Bloodborne 2 is trending," and it's just people talking about it. It's not even like an announcement. It's an infuriating.
But what do you think, GTA 6?
I don't think so. I think GTA.
No, I don't think. But it's close though.
It's close. I just have to imagine it's a big enough game that they could just like do their own show. Like,
they can. They can tweet on Christmas Day and everyone will write articles and make videos. Like, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. I just don't think that they... I mean, what's the perk of going with the PlayStation Showcase? Normally, you go to the PlayStation Showcase either because they cut you a big check, which I don't think they really care about because they have enough money. And two, you go there for the audience that's going to be there, which is going to be big. But if you're really looking for the biggest audience to partner with on a show, wait for the Game Awards. They'll do that as like the last announcement, GTA 6 at the Game Awards. Like, it would just be easy. I think they'd be better off, frankly, just doing their own show exactly how they want to do it.
Yeah, just tweet. Like that's a free cent, and then you get like you saved a lot of marketing dollars. I do think though that when it's officially announced, we could see it like a trailer, because Sony has been partnering with them. They gave away GTA Online. They did show trailers for GTA 5. The remastered for PS5 in their shows, and they had like bundles for GTA 5. Like, Sony and Rockstar are usually together. Of course, they had the Agent game once, right? So like, if there's a show where it could happen, it's gonna be this one. But I really think that, like you said, they're just gonna do their own thing. They're gonna at one point change the banner of their freaking account, and everyone will go crazy.
Yeah.
Or like put one pixel from a screenshot online, and everyone will make 10
People
million videos about it.
Enhance.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it would be like a big dick swinging move from Sony if they have it though. Like if they are like, and we got the freaking GTA 6.
Oh man, that would just be cruel. That'd be cruel.
Yeah.
Do you think we see Wolverine at all? You might have mentioned like.
No, I think they're gonna focus on Spider-Man. Unless like, I can see it go both ways, because it could also be like, hey, we are the Marvel machine or something, right? And they're like, hey, we also have Wolverine, because there are rumors that it's already next year. So there is probably only one PlayStation showcase after this where they can show it. But I think it would like take away from Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And they want to sell that.
I agree. I don't think they need to. Lucky, do you want to say
hi to
everybody? Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. It's our daily babe and baby visit where they come in and they say hi.
That's awesome. I love the Wednesdays already.
Yeah. He comes in, he selects a Blu-ray. Have a hug? Thank you. So sweet. So sweet. And then he messes with the Legos, because that's part of the fun.
Everything is breaking in the background.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes he'll come down and he'll visit, and we'll just be doing our thing. And then I turn around after they've headed back upstairs, and there's just a pile of DVDs and Blu-rays and PlayStation games and stuff. It is cute though, because he'll sift through them and he'll find like just based on the artwork what captures his attention, and he likes the Xbox cases more. He really likes them. So like he'll pull out, I think I have like an old LA Noir. He likes the feeling of the steel books, so he'll pull out the steel books. It's pretty awesome. But okay, I mean, final predictions. What do you think is like their intro? What do you think is like the total out of left field surprise? And what's their finishing title?
Yeah, again, I'm gonna say Spider-Man as like the intro. Because we know it's coming and people just want to see it. Like I think otherwise people are like, yeah, where's Spider-Man? Where's Spider? If they like get it out immediately, like the start of the show is also when most people will be watching usually.
Yeah.
Or when they like click on the video, they immediately see it, and they just want to market Spider-Man. That's the first one up. Of course, there's gonna be Konami stuff that has been rumored, like Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. But I don't think that will, like, I see a lot of people like, oh, Metal Gear is super big, but we have to remember that's like, I think the audience that has like a PS5 now, and that's like growing up, they don't know what Metal Gear is.
Yeah.
Unless they put Solid Snake in Fortnite. But,
oh my God, dude.
They're probably going to do that, of course. But, so I don't think like that's too big of a splash. Yeah, I'm still like in that sort of mindset where I think they're gonna do like something, God of War, like that they already have something ready, like just to be like, yeah, we've already been working on this Atreus game and it's coming out this year. Still think it's kind of like that would I think blow a lot of people's mind because they are not expecting it. But yeah, it's like so that would be I think a big one. BioShock would I think also be really big because we know that game is coming. It's been made, of course, by a new studio. We know Ken Levine, the original creator, is doing the Judas game. We already saw that. And yeah, I like there were rumors that Sony had the marketing deal for that. Like they've been looking at every big franchise, like Avatar as well, Hogwarts Legacy, Suicide Squad. They want to get the deals for like the big properties. BioShock totally fits that. So having the PlayStation logo at the end of that trailer, like even if it's just a trailer that teases the setting, which I think a lot of people are already curious about, that would be a big win. And it's also a title that people are, I think, kind of forgot. So seeing that, hearing the music, I think that would be really cool. And yeah, ending with Ghost of Tsushima 2, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's about time. It's about time.
Yeah.
I agree. I think they start with Spider-Man just because like they might even just start it with like the logo and then the sound of you booting up the PlayStation, has a very unique sound.
Yeah.
And then they just go right into a Spider-Man trailer, would be my guess. And then big surprise, I agree. I think we're going to see like a lot of live service games. So I think we'll see that. But big surprises at this point. I don't even feel like the Bloodborne thing would be like, it would be awesome, but I don't think it counts as like a shock because
no, it will be a shock because everyone lost hope at this point.
everybody is like, it's
yeah. I really think it will be like, wow. Just seeing the logo, like it's already like I think it's gonna be huge.
How do you think they would do it? Would they do it like the remastered cinematic trailer that they put out way back when? You remember that?
I think they're gonna like, the one with like where they only showed the weapon.
Yeah, like the axe.
Oh yeah. But that one, it was first had like a different name. It was just like From Software is doing a new game, and I was like, okay, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they are going to tease people, and like that only like people who are like diehard fans will know it from moment one, and everyone else like watching, what is this? And it looks kind of horror-y, and they're like, oh, and then it turns out to be Bloodborne. I would not be surprised if they like, if it's happening. Like again, I don't think it's gonna happen because that's like the best approach. But if it's happening, I think they will like announce a PS5 PC version first, and then it was like, okay, that's it, and then they do like and there's more. We're also working on the sequel or something.
I mean, do you think that everybody's just kind of assuming it would come to PC? Like, do you think that they would bring it to PlayStation and then a year later bring it to PC, or do you think they announce it for both on day one? Because I would not
maybe
be surprised
do PS5
if
first, like Last of Us, that they're like Last of Us Part 1 was first on PS5 and then a few weeks or few months later on PC. I think it's probably like that.
Like PC TBD or something. Yeah.
It's Demon's also still not on PC. That's also kind of weird, actually.
That is kind of surprising. I think maybe it's because it's like the launch title that was considered to be like the game that made PlayStation look so good in comparison to Xbox. So maybe it's just
they're holding on to it still, or yeah.
I mean, it still looks phenomenal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope that because Sony has been partnering with a lot of studios like Haven Studios, a lot of other like studios with a lot of like veterans, like they're doing some horror games, some other like live service games. Bungie's new IP could be here. They've been working on that for a really long time. So I think there are like a ton of possibilities. Like what we're hearing from people like Jeff Grubb, who perfectly heard about this showcase being next week, which turns out to be true. He said that this is going to be like the coming out party of Phase 2. They're really talking about it in phases now. The end of Phase 1 was God of War Ragnarok, and now we're going into Phase 2, starting with Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man, and we don't know what's happening after that. Of course, Wolverine is announced, the Last of Us multiplayer game. But yeah, this means that we're probably seeing some 2024, 2025, potentially even 2026 games revealed, and I think that's super exciting. Uncharted 5, I think that would also be like a huge get if they have a new Uncharted game.
Yeah, I think the Uncharted thing I'm more iffy on because it's not Naughty Dog, and I think people are. I think there will be some resistance unless it looks amazing. I think
they have to show resistance. Give a proper look at it.
Yeah. But I mean, either way, like just. This is maybe the like broader thing about all of this, though, is that you can just tell the difference in attitude and excitement towards the PlayStation showcase versus the showcase that Xbox has coming. There's a lot more confidence in the PlayStation team, in the PlayStation showcase. I would say at this point it's earned because they've done such a stand-up job of consistently showing good games that end up being good. Whereas Xbox has really struggled to show good games that, for one, release within a year or two of their originally slated release timeframe. But then they also struggled to get games out that are polished and refined to the point where they're worth playing. Yeah. Even though they're very accessible being on Game Pass. And it just shows, it reminds me of how much work Xbox, I think, has to do to catch up, because this level of confidence in a brand and a company is earned, and I think at this point PlayStation's earned it, and we'll see if they can continue to live up to it. But just the level of excitement is extremely different.
And I really think that Xbox can only lose or be like, okay, this is like what we expect. I don't think they can win with their show. And Sony, I think, can only win because if they even show only Spider-Man 2 and some Fortnite games, people will still be like, oh, Spider-Man looks amazing. And we know that's probably not going to happen. Like, they will have many cool games.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's just they have so many phenomenal franchises that they can just come
Yeah.
out swinging with that it's going to make it really, really tough for Xbox to even come close. I mean, it again just kind of reminds us. I know it's been said 1,000 times, but they have a dedicated show for Starfield. It doesn't even look like they're going to have a dedicated show for like Spider-Man or any of these other games that PlayStation has. They're doing it all here. They might eventually, but as of right now, there's no publicly stated announcements or anything for that. And so it really, really reminds us that Xbox is putting a lot on Starfield, and they need that to be a banger. They really do.
I already saw like some photos with like in like regular stores where you see like a Starfield energy drink or something. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they can delay that game anymore. It kind of, although it was the same with Halo Infinite, where they also had to delay it, and then a lot of like energy bottles already had the ad on it with fall 2022 or 2020, which obviously did not happen.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that console, the Cyberpunk console? I think it was a 1X.
Yeah.
This thing. Oh, dude, I forgot about this thing. I'm showing it on screen, everybody, but in case you didn't like see this back in the day, they released an Xbox One X. This must have been like 2019, 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. And of course, the game was consistently delayed after that. And it was crazy because they released this, sold it to people, and then they delayed the game. And so there were people that like presumably had this thing, and then they couldn't even play the game properly on it because it was last gen and the game was so broken on it. So like they couldn't even get the game running on the branded console, which, by the way,
that's wild.
I know some people in chat might have it, but I think this thing is
It's
ugly.
actually wild that they were planning to launch that game before the PS5 and Xbox Series were out. That was like the plan. Like, they delayed. That's crazy.
I think it just shows how out of touch the executive managers were.
Yeah. With the actual development of
like,
their
did they
game.
not try? This always like fascinates me. I have to wonder, like, are people like Phil Spencer sitting down and playing the games? Like, if you watch the Raising Kratos documentary, you know, like Shuhei Yoshida went and actually actively plays the games before they're launched on the PlayStation platform as a first party title. They give feedback, the executives give feedback, and they really have a hands-on approach to making sure these games are representative of their brand. And it makes me wonder, like, do the executives at CDPR just not play games? They didn't even try it? Or, you know, Phil Spencer, did he not even bother getting hands-on with Redfall? Did they really have no idea? It's baffling to me. Because I think anybody could have tried Redfall and probably realized pretty quickly that thing was not ready for prime time.
No, sadly not. Yeah. Speaking of like a company that does a lot of delays, I want to like look at some questions first. What do you think? So Christian is asking, what do you think about the rumored Cory Barlog game? Any chance of it showing up at the showcase? I don't know. That seems still far away. He started probably working on it in maybe like after God of War 2018 immediately. So I don't know. They could tease it, but I'm not sure. I would not expect it, at least. And I see some people saying like, Bluepoint, why do Bloodborne 2? Like, they are doing original content, and we're still like kind of figuring out what does that mean. Does it mean they're remaking a game and adding new stuff to it, or are they doing like a completely new game
or a sequel?
New IP? Or a sequel to like something they can build upon. Like, it's really that. I think it's clear that From Software is not going to make it. And what do you do if you're Sony and you see the things online, because they're not stupid? This game that was like a brand new IP on PS4 when it was still like a very small system when that game came out, everyone is still talking about it 8 years later, and that's not common. So they are looking at that. They're like, we have to do something. So what is the best option? If Bluepoint is like, we did Demon Souls and we're really passionate about these types of games, we think we can make Bloodborne 2, because we already showed what we can do. We made a PS5 game before, and Sony did invest like in From Software and maybe they can be like, hey, can you like come on, or like have one producer at From Software look at the game, so they can still like slap that name on it, and there's still like some From Software expertise involved. I think that would be personally better than not doing it at all. But some people might disagree. They're like, if From Software is not doing it, I don't want it. But that's like, you don't know. Like, we only know when that game is eventually coming out. I think Bluepoint deserves the shot, if they're even doing it, which of course still speculation, but that seems to make the most sense. I'm not sure what other team is going to do that. But
yeah, I mean, again, like, granted, everybody, this is speculation. Like, there's no we're not pretending to have sources on this stuff.
No.
This is speculation. What we like Joe Raptor said, what we know is that Bluepoint's working on original content, is what they've said. They described it as like their own journey in an original title or whatever, and that could take many different forms. We have no idea. As for the Cory Borlog the Cory Barlog game looks like, I think that could be something like a big hammer drop that could be interesting at the show. But I mean, if he started in 2019, we know he helped with Ragnarok. And presumably the team at Santa Monica Studio would have all moved over to help with it after Ragnarok came out. That's not much time at all. And I don't think that they want to get themselves caught in this cycle of announcing something 3-4 years beforehand, and then just delaying it perpetually. So
yeah, I agree.
We'll see.
But yeah, thanks for the comments, of course. It's gonna be a fun show. So May 24th.